What's up? What up, YouTube? This Astral King coming at you with another video. This video I wanted to go over my angelic encounter, and I also wanted to, get into a little bit about me as far as psychic ability, things of that nature, magic, maybe if you will. But yeah, I definitely had an angelic encounter, and I just wanted to share that. This experience happened back in, what was it? I think it was 2014. But before I get into that, I just wanted to go over a couple notes that I wrote down. So I just wanted to go over a little bit about psychic ability. And I don't really like to say that I'm a psychic. I don't really like to do that. You know what I mean? So I don't really try to claim that too much. But I have psychic ability, and at the very least, I have times of what I call heightened psychic ability. It's been displayed several times, proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so, I'm talking about everything from like psychic attacks. I'm talking about, like say, psychic attacks. I've done some psychic attacks on people. Talking about thought projection, non-local consciousness, thought forms. Talking about me being miles and miles and miles away, and physically, well, I wasn't there, but forcefully evacuating people out of my sacred space from miles and miles away. So yeah, I've done that. And it's really a strange kind of phenomenon. And it's just crazy to me, how some of these things have happened in my life. So I just wanted to briefly kind of gloss over that, I've had beefs, problems with people. I definitely had my men who stare at goats moment, you know what I mean? Except I wasn't staring at goats, I was staring at humans, you know what I'm saying? And really, really doing damage. So yeah, I mean, I didn't at the time. I didn't really even realize what I was doing. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, like I say, I had beefs, with people, and bad things happened to them, and I wasn't intending. It just happened. So yeah, I definitely don't want a psychic attack nobody, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm not playing with it, so try not to go into that too much. But I wrote down, for me, in my experience, my psychic ability, it comes like an instant knowing. You know what I mean? Like an instant knowing, like claircognizance. You know, and by the way, I have times showed, the four clairs that they call, for clair audio, all of that. I'm not gonna go into listing all those here, but I definitely displayed those at different times. Um, what else? Like I say, it's like for me, my psychic ability is like an instant knowing. Like I don't really know how I know it. You know what I mean? It just boom, right there. Boom, right there. It's coming in. And for me, it's like it really seems like sometimes like God, you know what I mean, or the source is just bringing it right to me. It's just presenting it. right there, right inside the mind. It's not like I'm not sitting there thinking, contemplating about, oh, trying to figure this out or this out, or, it's just right there. And, you often see a lot of people like with researching things and stuff like that. People say, you can't just get right into look at this thing for 2 seconds and be like, thinking you know what the deal is. They'd be like, you really got to put in the time and energy to research this thing. And I'm like, that's not always true. That's not always true. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I just look at something for 2 seconds and bam, right there. I know. I know. And it's just weird. So let me see. Okay. Claircognizance. According to the Intuitive Journal, because I looked this up, and claircognizance is what they call clear knowing. And it's a metaphysical sense where you know something to be correct, but you might not be able to back up your claims with facts. And you might not even know how you know. You know what I mean? It's just, I know things and I don't know how I know them. That shit happens to me all the time. What else? Having these abilities. Uh, it really is awkward because, I'm also someone who's looking at alternative history and trying to expose things. And, me speaking out with these abilities, it got me on the radar, you know what I mean? And like say in a previous video, I've been targeted once or twice, in my life. And, hopefully they don't get to me with that. So it's just weird, man. Like I say, like an example of me just knowing. Okay, I'll take you back. But before I go there, I'm just going to say, like I said, I always go into the alternative history because I can clearly see that something is going on with this planet. And when you really see how the deceiver is moving around this planet, I mean, most people have no idea, what's going on. But when you really see it and you can't unsee it, that's the problem. I can't unsee it. So, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm frequently over the target when I'm dealing with exposing these clowns. So, I mean, it just comes to me almost instantly sometimes. And, so what I call it is kind of like political shamanism. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm reading the current events, the current affairs, or even the mysteries of the past. I'm just reading it, man, from a different perspective. And a lot of times it just, it comes right to me. I'm not sitting here, doing all this. Sometimes I do, but it's not really reliable that way. I realized all the most reliable stuff is just instantly right to me, instantly, 2 seconds. You know what I mean? I'll ask the question instantly, right to me. Uh, yeah. So I look into some of the history and the mysteries and how we're being exploited here. And like I say, I can clearly see the sinister forces and the deceiver of humanity, all over this planet, in America as well, right now. So I just want to say an example of some of that clear knowing. I was about 8 or 9 years old back when George H.W. Bush was giving one of his speeches as president. I was 8 or 9 years old, and I'm, happened to come in the room, and I just, go to the TV, and I'm looking, and I'm just watching, and instantly I know when I'm looking at this guy, man, it's crazy. I'm like, I asked my mom, I'm like, I mean, this is pure evil. I've never, at 8 or 9 years old, I've never seen a more sinister force of evil. than when I was looking at George H.W. Bush giving that speech. I mean, I asked my mom, I'm like, well, I don't even think I asked her, but I asked myself, I'm like, how is our president evil? How do we have an evil president? This is way back when I was 8 or 9 years old. But that's pure evil being emitted from that guy. I'm just telling you. And he's not the only one. I mean, I can see it literally written on their faces, man. And, it's crazy, man. Like I said, I can't unsee you motherfuckers. That's what I mean. You mad at me? I can't unsee you. Don't be evil. How about you pretend, we're pretending to be this great nation. How about we don't be run by evil motherfuckers? I mean, I've never seen, the pure darkness that was coming from that guy when he was giving those speeches. And that was way back when I was 8 or 9 years old. And that tripped me out. That tripped me out major league. Yeah, man. It's crazy. I see it all over these people's faces. I don't want to call them out, but it's all over their faces. George Soros, pure evil. He's got the same energy that's emitted from George Bush Sr. George Soros emits that same energy, as well as Pope Francis. All these guys, they're not what they're pretending to be at all. I'm just saying, evil, very evil. So, sinister forces, deceiver all over this planet, man. It's not a game, it's not a joke. Like I said, when I was a kid, I seen that coming from that guy and I couldn't believe it. And then also, another thing, when I was in school, when they were teaching about, say, for instance, the JFK assassination, when I first came across that as a kid, and they were saying Oswald did it, and I knew instantly. No, the fuck he did not. Also, the same thing with the Hitler dying in the bunker story. They tried to tell us that in school. I knew immediately as soon as the teacher spoke it. No, the fuck he did not. So I don't know where they're coming up. I don't know where they're coming up with this shit, man. But there's deception all over this planet. And I just wanted to get in that as a brief, little statement before I get into my angelic encounter, And I didn't write my angelic encounter down. It happened back in, I believe it was 2014. Yeah, because I had a dog, and we only had her for probably about 6 years. She was young, but she had a health problem, and I can't remember exactly what that was at the time right now. But yeah, she had a health problem, and one day, just out of the blue, man. Unfortunately, I was doing my thing, getting ready for work, and not really paying no attention. And she kept coming around me, trying to be close like normal, but I didn't realize she was having a problem, until a little later that day. But yeah, man, my canine wifey ended up dying like right there. And it really kind of, really was a hard day, hard thing to get through, man, because she kind of died right in my arms. And I was just like, damn, unbelievable. I wasn't prepared for this at all. So yeah, unfortunately that happened. But that night, that very same night, yeah, like I said, I was in rough shape. I was crying, obviously, and I did a kind of a little prayer. I didn't really say a prayer, but I was just, I guess the energy from my heart, was just connected. And I had, her hair, because I obviously, dogs leave hair everywhere. I had gathered up a bunch of her hair, and I was just kind of like, salutating or whatever you want to call it, and just, all upset, man. It was ridiculous. And yeah, I had my angelic experience. What happened was I laid down on my bed. I didn't go to sleep. As soon as I laid down on my bed, I started seeing these wings in my vision, these wings flapping around in my eyes, and in my mind's eye. I started seeing these wings flapping around, and then what I noticed next was I was being lifted up. in my mind's eye. So my body was here the whole time, laying down in my bed. I wasn't asleep because I just instantly laid down, but I closed my eyes, and in my mind's eye, I see my body rising up. I see my body kind of floating up. I'm laid down on my back though, so I'm kind of just like floating up like this. And the vision kind of scales out a little bit, so I see myself there rising up. I don't see myself in the room though. I see my body just rising up, and I'm also rising up, and I notice I'm rising up like over higher than a mountain. I'm going up higher than a mountain. I'm just going up, 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 and I'm continuing to go up, 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 and up, and like we're way up in the air. And but it was like on a pillar though. There was a pillar that was going way up in the air. And when I kept floating up, like I said, I seen this angelic being. And, the thing is like he had the wings, but he had a bird head. He had a bird head, huge wings, and I'm talking about rock hard, solid diesel, more than any. I'm talking about muscles on top of muscle, muscle on top of muscle, muscle. You talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger times infinity. You're talking about huge. This thing was huge, but it was a bird head. It was a bird head. I clearly remember that with the big wings. I don't remember seeing any kind of like sex organ here, but it was naked though. Jump was naked, huge, ripped, big ass wings, claws, bird feet in the pillar, way up in the air, lifted me way up. And when I got up there, it was like a telepathic communication, and it was just real brief though. And I got up there, and it seemed to me like this being was was able to connect me to the mind of my dog who just passed away. And it was just a quick message. It was just a quick message, and they were telling me that she said that, she didn't want to go, but she had to go. She didn't want to go, but she had to go was the message that came across. But it was kind of like my dog was telepathically telling me that I didn't want to go, but I had to go. So it was a weird kind of telepathic communication. Also, in that realm, though, I do want to point out that I noticed a lot of weird sound. It was kind of like, you hear like the birds, the eagle soar, and, the bird song, and like the eagle, the eagle cry, whatever you want to call it, like echoing, like a hawk or something. I kept hearing that, but it was also a weird sound like with the bird sound after that. I'm not going to try to do it. It just sounds crazy. But yeah, I mean, I had a real experience like that with an angelic being. And it was, just, I've never experienced anything like that. And the very next night, I was tried to telepathically connect again. And, you know, I was able to send the message that, that Mary didn't take anything from me. She gave me a lot of love. And, she gave me a lot of love in my heart. She didn't take anything from me because I guess I was feeling still really broken up about it. But, she didn't take anything from me. She gave me a lot of love. And we got that message across again. And that's the only time that I've ever really seen any kind of angelic experience like that. That was back in 2014. So I just wanted to relay that here because I never really tell anybody about a bunch of stuff. I have so many experiences, so many experiences, but I don't really talk about it. So I just wanted to bring that out in my YouTube video. And so there you have it. I just wanted to bring that across. Hopefully somebody will see this video and maybe they had something similar, like this video or whatever. But yeah, just wanted to bring this out here. So, that was my experience. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut off this video. Peace. Peace, peace.